It started like any other Tuesday morning in the quiet suburb of Crestwood Heights, a place where manicured lawns and colonial-style homes whispered of order and tradition, where neighbors waved politely but rarely asked questions that mattered. The sun had barely crested the horizon when a black SUV pulled into the driveway of 14 Sycamore Lane, a house recently sold but still the subject of whispered speculation. Out stepped a tall black man in a crisp navy suit, clipboard in hand, his stride confident but calm. He glanced at the house, then at the sky, storm clouds gathering in the distance like a warning. He didn't flinch. He had keys in his pocket, but he didn't reach for them yet. Across the street, a curtain twitched. A neighbor peered out, lips pursed, phone already in hand. Within minutes, a white woman emerged from the house next door, flanked by 2 HOA board members, retired men with too much time and too little grace. Their voices were sharp, accusatory. "Can we help you?" one barked, though it was clear help was not on offer. "You don't belong here," said the other, eyes narrowing at the clipboard as if it were a weapon. The man introduced himself calmly, but they weren't listening. They saw the suit, the skin, the clipboard, and made their assumptions. One of them dialed 911. "Suspicious individual," he said. "Possibly casing the neighborhood." The man didn't react. He'd seen this play before. He'd lived it. But today was different. Today he was not just a man with keys. He was the newly appointed police commissioner of Crestwood County, and this was his home. The sirens wailed in the distance, growing louder. A squad car pulled up, then another. Officers stepped out, hands near their holsters, eyes scanning. The man stood still, clipboard held loosely, his ID tucked inside. "Sir, we received a call," one officer began, cautious but firm. "Can we see some identification?" The man nodded, slowly reaching into his jacket. The HOA members watched with smug satisfaction, the white woman clutching her phone like a lifeline. The neighbors leaned closer to their windows, some recording, others just watching. The man handed over his ID. The officer looked down, then up. His face changed. Confusion. Recognition. Respect. "Commissioner Daniels?" he asked, voice suddenly quieter. The man nodded. "That's right." Silence fell like a curtain. The HOA members blinked. The woman's mouth opened, then closed. The officers straightened. "We're so sorry, sir," one said. "We didn't realize." "You didn't ask," Daniels replied, voice steady. "You assumed." The storm clouds rolled closer, thunder rumbling in the distance. The clipboard held the plans for community reform, for outreach, for change. But the moment held something heavier. A reckoning. Daniels turned toward the house, finally reaching into his pocket and pulling out the keys. He walked to the door, unlocked it, and stepped inside. The officers lingered, unsure. The HOA members stood frozen. The woman lowered her phone. Inside the house, Daniels looked around. Bare walls, fresh paint. A new beginning. But outside, the storm was coming. And with it, a truth that Crestwood Heights could no longer ignore. Because this wasn't just about one man. It was about every assumption, every quiet prejudice, every moment of power misused. And Daniels was ready. He picked up his phone, dialed a number. "Let's move up the press conference," he said. "They're ready, even if they don't know it yet." But just as he hung up, a knock came at the door. Not from the police. Not from the neighbors. From someone else. Someone unexpected. Daniels opened the door and froze. Standing there was a man in a dark suit, holding a folder marked Internal Affairs. "We need to talk," the man said. "It's about your predecessor. And it's urgent." Daniel stepped aside, letting him in. The storm broke overhead, rain pounding the roof. And somewhere in the distance, a siren wailed, not of arrival but of warning. Because what Daniels didn't know yet was that his appointment had stirred forces far beyond Crestwood Heights. Forces that weren't ready to let go of the past. Not without a fight. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more powerful stories that uplift Black voices and expose hidden truths. Commissioner Daniels stood motionless as the man from Internal Affairs stepped inside, rain dripping from his coat, folder clutched tightly in one hand like it contained the weight of 1,000 secrets. The house was still bare, echoing with the sound of thunder and the distant hum of police radios outside. Daniels gestured toward the living room, and the two men sat across from each other, the air thick with unspoken urgency. "We've uncovered something," the agent said, voice low, eyes scanning the room as if it might be bugged. Your predecessor, Commissioner Rourke, was involved in a covert operation. Off the books. Unauthorized surveillance, asset misappropriation, and something else. Something darker. Daniels leaned forward, his clipboard now forgotten on the kitchen counter. Go on. The agent opened the folder, revealing grainy photographs, encrypted memos, and a list of names, some crossed out, some circled in red. This operation was called Project Sentinel. It was designed to monitor high-risk communities, but it went far beyond that. They were profiling, targeting, and in some cases, disappearing people. Daniels felt a chill crawl up his spine. Disappearing? The agent nodded grimly. We've traced at least 7 cases where individuals were detained without record. No charges. No release. Just gone. Daniels stood pacing. And you're telling me this now because? The agent hesitated. Because Rourke didn't act alone. There's evidence that members of the Crestwood Heights HOA were involved. They provided intel, access, even cover stories. And one of them, one of the men who confronted you this morning, is on the list. Daniel stopped cold. The storm outside intensified, lightning flashing across the windows. Which one? The agent slid a photo across the table. Daniels picked it up. It was the older man with the silver hair and smug expression, the one who'd called the police. His name is Gerald Whitmore. Retired military intelligence. He's not just a nosy neighbor. He's one of the architects. Daniels clenched his jaw. What's the next step? The agent looked up, eyes sharp. We need access to Rourke's encrypted files. They're stored on a server hidden in the basement of the old precinct. But there's a problem. Daniels raised an eyebrow. Of course there is. The agent leaned in. The server is protected by biometric access, Rourke's fingerprint and retinal scan. And Rourke vanished 3 weeks ago. No trace. Daniels exhaled slowly, the pieces swirling in his mind like the storm outside. So we need to find him. The agent nodded. Or find someone who knows where he went. Just then a knock came at the door again. Daniels and the agent exchanged a glance. Daniels walked to the door, opened it, and found a young woman standing there, soaked from the rain, clutching a flash drive in one hand and a blood-stained envelope in the other. Her eyes were wide with fear. You don't know me, she said, voice trembling. But I used to work for Rourke. And if you don't help me right now, they'll kill me too. Daniel stepped aside, letting her in, heart pounding. The agent stood, eyes narrowing. Who's they? He asked. The woman turned slowly, eyes locking onto Daniels. The ones who run Project Sentinel. The ones who never wanted you to be commissioner. The ones who are already inside your department. Daniels froze. The storm outside roared louder. And somewhere deep in the shadows of Crestwood Heights, a phone rang in an empty room, its caller ID flashing one word, Sentinel. Commissioner Daniels stared at the young woman dripping rainwater onto his hardwood floor, her eyes darting between him and the internal affairs agent like she wasn't sure who to trust. The flash drive in her hand trembled, and the blood-stained envelope looked like it had been torn from a nightmare. Daniels took a slow breath, motioned her to sit, and gestured for the agent to hold off on questions. Start from the beginning, he said. She nodded, voice barely above a whisper. My name is Maya. I was Rourke's assistant for 2 years. I thought I was just doing admin work, scheduling, filing, logistics. But then I started noticing things. Late-night meetings. Unmarked vans. Files disappearing from the system. And then one day Rourke handed me this flash drive and told me to keep it safe. Said if anything happened to him, I should find you. Daniels exchanged a glance with the agent, who was already pulling out a secure laptop. Maya continued, he said Project Sentinel wasn't just about surveillance. It was about control. They were building a database, profiles on citizens, officers, even elected officials. Psychological assessments, behavioral predictions, loyalty scores. And they were using it to manipulate promotions, arrests, even elections. Daniels felt the room tilt. How deep does it go? Maya looked up, eyes haunted. It goes all the way to the state level. Maybe higher. The agent plugged in the flash drive, fingers flying across the keyboard. Files opened, encrypted logs, audio recordings, internal memos marked eyes only. One video began to play, Rourke sitting in a dimly lit room speaking directly to the camera. If you're watching this, I'm either dead or disappeared. Project Sentinel was never supposed to go this far. They've infiltrated departments, courts, even media outlets. And the worst part? They're planning something big. Something called Phase Omega. Daniels leaned in. What's Phase Omega? Rourke's voice continued. It's a purge. They want to eliminate dissent. Anyone who's flagged as a threat to their system. Activists, journalists, reformers. They're going to use a crisis to justify it. A false flag. And they've already chosen the location. The video cut off. The agent cursed under his breath. The file's corrupted. We need the rest. Maya reached into her coat and handed over the envelope. Inside were coordinates, a list of names, and a single phrase scrawled in red ink. It begins in Crestwood. Daniels stood, adrenaline surging. We need to warn people. We need to shut this down. The agent nodded. We'll need backup. Trusted officers only. Maya hesitated. There's one more thing. Rourke said there's a mole inside your office. Someone close to you. Someone you trust. Daniels froze. His mind raced through names. His deputy chief, his communications director, even his driver. The storm outside intensified, lightning cracking across the sky. Just then his phone buzzed. A message. No sender ID. Just one line, you're already too late. Daniels looked up, heart pounding. The laptop screen flickered. The files began deleting themselves one by one. The flash drive smoked, then sparked. Maya screamed. The agent yanked the drive out, but it was fried. Gone. Daniels grabbed the envelope, scanning the coordinates. We need to get to this location. Now. But before they could move, the lights in the house went out. Total darkness. Then a voice echoed from the hallway, calm, cold, unmistakable. I told you not to dig. Daniels turned slowly, reaching for his sidearm. A shadow stepped into view. It was someone he knew. Someone he trusted. And they were holding a gun. Phase Omega starts tonight, the figure said. And you're the first name on the list. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more powerful stories that uplift Black voices and expose hidden truths. Commissioner Daniels didn't move. The figure in the hallway stepped forward, gun raised, face half lit by the flickering lightning outside. It was Deputy Chief Warren, his longtime colleague, his trusted second in command. The betrayal hit like a gut punch. Daniels had vouched for Warren, had brought him into sensitive meetings, had trusted him with reform plans. And now Warren stood there, weapon drawn, eyes cold. You were never supposed to make it this far, Warren said, voice devoid of emotion. Sentinel was built to protect order. You're chaos. Daniels kept his hands visible, calculating. Maya backed into the corner, clutching the envelope. The internal affairs agent reached slowly for his sidearm, but Warren shook his head. Don't. I've got backup watching the house. You won't make it out alive if you try anything. Daniels spoke calmly. You're part of Phase Omega? Warren nodded. I helped design it. Rourke was weak. He hesitated. I won't. The storm outside roared louder, wind rattling the windows. Daniels took a step forward. You think killing me will stop this? Warren smirked. Not killing. Framing. We've already planted evidence. You'll be the face of a scandal. The reformer who snapped. The commissioner who cracked under pressure. And when you're gone, Sentinel will move forward without resistance. Maya gasped. You're going to fake a breakdown? Warren turned to her. Not fake. Just orchestrated. The agent stepped between them. You won't get away with this. Warren's eyes narrowed. I already have. Just then, a loud crash came from the back of the house. Glass shattered. Footsteps. Daniels turned. Two masked figures in tactical gear burst in, weapons drawn. Secure the targets, one said. Maya screamed. The agent fired, hitting one assailant in the shoulder. Chaos erupted. Daniels tackled Warren, the gun skidding across the floor. The second masked figure grabbed Maya, dragging her toward the door. Daniels broke free, lunged, and slammed the attacker into the wall. The agent shouted, We need to move, now. Daniels grabbed the envelope, Maya's hand, and bolted through the kitchen door into the rain-soaked backyard. Sirens wailed in the distance, not police but something else. Black SUVs with tinted windows sped down the street. The masked men regrouped. Warren shouted, Don't let them reach the safe house. Daniels and Maya sprinted through the alley, the agent covering their escape. Bullets tore through the night. They reached a hidden garage, Daniels punching in a code. The door opened. Inside was a single vehicle, unmarked, armored and ready. They jumped in, tires screeching as they peeled away. Maya clutched the envelope. "There's one name on this list that matters most," she said. "The one who controls the entire operation." Daniels glanced at her. "Who?" She hesitated. "The architect. The one Rourke feared most. The one who funded Sentinel from the beginning." Daniels gripped the wheel. "Tell me." Maya looked down at the envelope, then up at him. "It's someone you've met. Someone you shook hands with. Someone who stood beside you at your swearing in." Daniels felt the blood drain from his face. "Who is it?" Maya opened the envelope, pulled out a photo, and Daniels slammed the brakes. The car skidded to a stop. He stared at the image. It was the governor. Smiling. Standing beside him. Hand on his shoulder. Daniels whispered, "He's the architect?" Maya nodded. "And he's already declared a state of emergency. Tonight." Daniels looked ahead. Roadblocks were forming. Drones hovered overhead. The city was locking down. And in the distance, the Capitol building glowed red. Because Phase Omega wasn't just a purge. It was a coup. The armored vehicle sat motionless on the rain-slicked road, headlights off, engine humming low. Commissioner Daniels stared at the photo of the governor, the architect of Project Sentinel, the man who had stood beside him during his swearing-in with a smile that now felt like a dagger. Maya clutched the envelope, her knuckles white, while the internal affairs agent scanned the horizon for drones. The Capitol building glowed ominously in the distance, red floodlights casting long shadows across the city. "We need to get inside," Daniels said, voice steady. "If we expose this before Phase Omega launches, we can stop it." Maya nodded. "There's a secure server in the governor's office. Rourke said it holds the master list, the purge targets, the Sentinel operatives, everything." The agent checked his weapon. "Then we go in quiet. No backup. No comms. If they intercept us, it's over." Daniels drove toward the Capitol, weaving through barricades and checkpoints, flashing his credentials with a calm authority that masked the storm inside him. They reached the underground entrance, bypassed security with Maya's stolen clearance codes, and slipped into the building like ghosts. Inside, the halls were eerily silent. Emergency protocols had cleared most staff. Only armed guards remained, loyal to Sentinel. Daniels led the way, navigating corridors he'd walked 100 times before, now foreign and hostile. They reached the governor's office. The door was locked, biometric scanner glowing. Maya stepped forward, pulled out a second flash drive. "Rourke gave me this too. Said it would override the system." She plugged it in. The scanner blinked, then turned green. The door opened. Inside, the room was dark, lit only by the glow of a massive monitor displaying a countdown, 12 minutes and 47 seconds. Phase Omega was minutes away. Daniels rushed to the terminal, inserted the drive, and began the upload. Files poured in, names, locations, directives. The truth. But just as the final file loaded, the door slammed shut behind them. The governor stood there, flanked by 2 armed guards, his face calm, eyes cold. "I warned you, Commissioner," he said. "You could have had a quiet career. A legacy. But you chose chaos." Daniels stood, fists clenched. "I chose justice." The governor stepped forward. "Justice is a myth. Order is survival. Sentinel ensures survival." Maya moved toward the monitor. "You're about to murder innocent people." The governor shrugged. "Sacrifices. Necessary ones." The agent raised his weapon. "Step aside." The guards aimed back. Tension crackled. Daniels reached for the keyboard, hit enter. The files began transmitting to every major news outlet, encrypted but traceable. The governor lunged, but Daniels tackled him. The guards fired. One bullet grazed Maya's arm, another shattered the monitor. The room erupted in chaos. The agent took down one guard. Daniels wrestled the governor to the ground. Maya, bleeding, crawled to the backup terminal and hit the final command, "Release all." Across the city, phones buzzed. Screens lit up. The truth spilled out. Sentinel was exposed. The purge halted. The countdown froze at 3 seconds. Sirens wailed, not sentinels, but federal agents. Reinforcements. Whistleblowers. The cavalry. The governor was arrested. The guards subdued. Daniel stood in the wreckage, breathing hard, blood on his shirt but eyes clear. Maya smiled weakly. You did it. Daniels looked out the window. The storm had passed. The city was waking up. And the truth had finally broken through. But just as he turned to leave, his phone buzzed. A message. No sender. Just one line. Sentinel was only phase 1. Power without accountability breeds corruption. Assumptions without truth breed injustice. And silence in the face of wrongdoing allows systems of oppression to thrive. But one voice, one act of courage, can unravel even the most insidious conspiracy. Justice isn't given, it's fought for. And the fight never ends. The end. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more powerful stories that uplift Black voices and expose hidden truths.